Hello, today we're talking about reducing fractions. And reducing fractions is really similar to finding equivalent fractions. And when we reduce fractions, we always want to find equivalent fractions by division. So finding equal values but with smaller numbers. And there's a couple different ways that we can do that. The most reliable way is by listing out your factors. So the numbers that you would multiply together to equal a product, or to equal these numbers in this case. So I could list out the factors of 12. 1 times 12 is 12, 2 times 6 is 12, 3 times 4 is 12. I can do the same thing with 16. 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16 are all factors of 16. 1 times 16 is 16, 2 times 8 is 16, 4 times 4 is 16. Now, when I list out factors, an easy way to do this is, what are the numbers they have in common? Well, they've got 1, they've got 2, and they've got 4, all in common, right? So I can divide 12/16 by any one of those on top and bottom, and I would get an equivalent fraction. Now, I don't recommend using the number 1 because that doesn't really get you anywhere. And if you list out your factors, it's always a good idea to go with the factor that is the largest. So in this case, 4 over 4. So now I can do 12 divided by 4, which we know is 3, and 16 divided by 4, which we know is 4. So that's one way to reduce fractions, right? And this is a very reliable way to find your fractions. Now, when I'm reducing fractions with mixed numbers, the process doesn't change and my whole number doesn't change. So, for example, if I had 2 and 2/4, what I would do is, if I wanted to reduce 2/4, I know I can divide 2 and 4 by the number 2. So I would do 2 divided by 2 is 1, 4 divided by 2 is 2, and my whole number stays the same. I don't reduce whole numbers when I have a mixed number. It's just the fraction part. Now, some of you may be thinking, writing down factors, that seems like a lot of work and a lot of thinking, and I don't want to write down all those numbers. Sometimes, like 5/10, you guys may know, okay, I know that the number 5 can be divided by 5, and the number 10 can be divided by 5. You may also notice sometimes the answer's right in front of you, and the numerator is the number that you'll divide by. When that works out, it's always fun because you don't necessarily have to do as much work. So let's say we can do that, right? So 5 divided by 5 is 1, 10 divided by 5 is 2, and so you've reduced this fraction to 1/2. Now, the caution that I will provide for you, and something for you to watch out for, is that you don't try to finish your problem too quickly. For example, if you've got even numbers, dividing by the number 2 is a very simple way to reduce your fraction. For example, 16 and 36, they're both even numbers. They'll both be divided by 2. And you would be correct in your thinking, right? 16 divided by 2, we know that is the number 8. And 36 divided by 2, you can figure that out. That's going to be the number 18. And you may be thinking, yay, I reduced my fraction. That might be true. However, in the math world, we do want you to reduce to simplest terms. So whenever in the book it says to reduce your answer or to write your answer in simplest terms, they want you to write a fraction with the smallest numbers possible that still have an equal value. You may be thinking, you may be noticing or looking ahead, 8 and 18, they still share common factors. So I'd have to go through my reduction process again, or reducing again, and I would notice that 8 and 18 can both be divided by 2. So I would do 8 divided by 2, which is 4, and 18 divided by 2, which is 9. So 4/9, that is my simplest form. That is how I would reduce my answers. And this is a perfectly fine process to go through by reducing a couple different times. Some of you right off the bat may have been thinking he should have reduced by 4 right away, and that also would get you the answer. All of these are good methods to reduce fractions, and you've got to find the method that works best for you. And whether it's writing out all your factors, using some mental math, or just by continuing to write out your process, those are all good ways to reduce fractions.